You wonder what we're doing, right? No keyboard. No, actually, this is the 12th exercise in the daily dozen. We're going to finish it up today, and this is the last of the exercises. And what I'm doing here, I don't know what she's doing, but what we're doing here.
I do my own thing.
Is practicing walking upstairs. You got to be careful when you get older. Okay. Anyway, this is the 12th exercise, and we're going to do this quickly. It's a bending at the knees, keeping your legs locked out, and stretching on the back of the legs, and back up. Okay, you do that about. We'll start out with 15 repetitions when you do this. And you have something to say, Smart?
Well, I just want to say welcome to the Not Too Much Comedy
Well,
Show.
that's pretty smart.
And this is Memorial Day. I am Wilhelmina.
And I am Carl Bradfield, a Christian, a combat veteran for Jesus, and to keep your daughter happy.
Pardon? Well, you only said 3 things. You usually say.
Well, I'm trying to slim down.
Oh,
I
okay.
have to
Good,
knock it off.
good. Me too.
Yeah.
No, I'm doing just plain old step-ups. That are things, there again, things you can do at home. It doesn't have to be a workout bench or steps, but just something that you can do while you're watching television to keep active. Because it's important to be active the older you get. You keep your legs and bones strong.
One way you can get out of breath by watching television.
And the other thing you can do is just basic, squats and up and down like that. Only don't see yourself on television while you're doing it.
And I don't do it in front of a mirror because mirrors do not lie. Fortunately, they don't laugh either.
That's why you come on the show, so you can be laughed at.
It's a comedy show.
Not too much comedy.
Wait for that.
So, this is Memorial Day, and it's a very special day
2014.
when our country recognizes those men and women who have given their lives.
For the country.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to talk about that today.
Yes, we are. I am a combat veteran. I have been there.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen guys, well, they say give their lives, but their lives are snatched from them.
Yeah.
And beside me, right beside me.
But they were willing. They were willing to go over there and serve their
Oh,
country.
yes. They just weren't willing to take the bullets.
Yeah,
The
but
bombs.
unfortunately that does happen. But we're going to be talking about that and hope that you're having a nice day off from work, because most people are off today.
And most people, especially Wilhelmina, thinks I'm off all the time.
Yes. Well, that's my opinion. All right. Well, are we going to sit down and talk about it?
Yes, you
Okay. Well,
want to dance?
no. I'm just going to go this way. We'll just twirl right around. I'll trip over the cords. And I don't know about you, but for the moment I'm taking this off. Whew.
Well, while she's taking this off,
I mean, just the scarf. Okay.
never does what I want her to do.
So we don't get a close-up, I guess, on this. Oh, we do. We just get an individual close-up. Can we get one together? I have to go like this to get it together. I don't know how that works. Okay.
Okay. Keep talking, kid.
Keep talking. All right. Well, I just want to say that I have been very fortunate that I have not lost anyone personal to the war. My father died when I was a baby. I don't really think he was any. He was pretty old back then. And my sons, fortunately, were at an age when the war was on. I think they probably had to sign up to be available for the draft, but were never drafted. So neither of them have ever served the country. But when Memorial Day comes, I tend to think about those people that I've lost and remember them, because that's what it's about. It's remembering those people and valuing and appreciating their lives and being thankful that they did live and that we did have the pleasure of knowing them. And I know Carl has had a lot of his military friends personally known that he's going to be talking about today and remembering them. Right, Carl?
Yes. I will say that my father died when I was 13. We were a happy family once, but I blame it on smoking. In those days, smoking was promoted, and he just died from lung cancer. Anyway, yes, we are going to talk about some of my buddies that were killed around me. I was in the with them when they died. Some died instantly. Some died very bloody situations. Some died after they returned to the hospital. We got them out of the jungle. But
what's a positive thing that you can remember about these buddies? Something that made them friends of yours. What was it? Tell us something that is a memorable thing that made them important to you in your life.
Well,
to recognize their life,
yes.
Not just their death.
A platoon is like a family. I left Fort Riley with the 1st Battalion, 26th Infantry, the Blue Spaders. I was in a Bravo company, and we sailed. We left Fort Riley and sailed across the Pacific Ocean. Well, we didn't leave. We didn't sail from Fort Riley. We went to the West Coast and then boarded a ship. So we got close to each other. We were all green together, and we went into this new war. It was new war, and it was a new war in the fall of 1965. Hadn't even really become a war yet. We were on our way to making it a war. Very few units were there, other units. So we had a bond of sorts. We argued a lot. We're around each other 24/7, as they say today. Sometimes just 10 feet apart, about this close. When you're in a fight,
this isn't 10 feet, more like 2 inches.
Or about this close.
Oh, okay.
And when you're around anybody, just think of a husband and wife being around each other all day long and all night long. And you couldn't even go to the bathroom without them being around to guard you, not the husband and wife. I mean my buddies. But and I do have certain buddies that I still have pictures of, and on our link, our Vietnam era Blue Spaders link that I do, they're now posting dates of certain GIs that were killed on a certain date, and this is bringing to mind many of my friends that were killed. I left 240 men in my platoon. At the end of the original platoon, at the end of that year, I was told I was one of 3 left of that original group that wasn't wounded. Many of them were dead. But I do have 2 buddies. Well,
were you not going to read the D-Day poem first?
Yes, I will. I would like to offer a tribute to the men of World War II, because they, unlike Vietnam, they had a purpose. They saved the world from Nazism. We have our freedom because of what these guys in World War II in Europe and in the Pacific did for us, and defeating basically somebody who wanted to destroy this country. Therefore, I have a poem. It's called.
Is this something you wrote?
Yes, of course.
Oh,
it's
of
one
course,
of my
of
poems.
course.
And it's a slight humor. It's dedicated to in this case, the jumpers of World War II, the jumpers in D-Day. These are the guys that parachuted into Normandy ahead of the invasion force. And this is my little poem to them. The C-47 was cramped and packed, sheer terror all over my face. I shivered and shook with each bump we took, worried about the fall into space. Then we crossed the Normandy coast and flew on for our 600-foot drop, where I tightened my gear amid all the fear and hoped we wouldn't even stop. I whispered to Jack, who stood in the back, to give me a push at the door, but the old Sarge, who was twice as large, said he'd do that and much more. Then came the call to hit the silk. I stood with trembling hands. They opened the hatch with that fearful command, and I prayed for a safe place to land. I stalled for a moment to give some room, but Jack shoved me just a little too soon. I knocked the whole squad down one at a time, just as the first guy went out. So they shoved me out with a boot and a shout, and I landed on top of a kraut.
Very good.
Next, I do have one for the guys landing on the boats, but I'll do that next week, which will be the week of June 6th, the landing at Normandy.
I see.
And I don't want to forget the guys in the Pacific, what they did, the Navy and the Marines and the Army, either. But, we make a little funny about it, but Vietnam didn't really have a purpose, didn't have a goal, There was no
well, what did you believe you were fighting for when
we didn't know? That was one of the main questions on the ship going over. Why are we getting involved in a civil war? Because we thought it was a civil war. Mm-hmm. And nobody knew. Why are we going over here? Mm-hmm. And the standard answer was, you're going over because you're told to go over. That meant nobody knew. And nobody knew what we had.
No.
My own sergeant landed on Omaha Beach on D-Day 22 years before, and then. And but when they fought the Germans, they could see the Germans. Mm-hmm. This was a different war.
Well, wasn't it to keep the world free from communism? I mean, that's what I remember hearing back when I was a little girl.
Well, one of the we think was more propaganda. One of the reasons they gave, which was kind of shaky, was that we're supposed to help the South Vietnamese army, the ARVNs, get better organized so that they could fight their own war. It didn't work out that way.
And what was the war about between the North and the South?
The communists wanted to take over the whole country.
It was to keep the world free from
communism.
That was the idea. I mean, that's what I was told at home. It was. I wasn't even sure what communism was, other than it was something to do with Orwell's 1984. And this big brother thing that communism was going to bring. And I think about it now, and I think, well, Big Brother's here, regardless. And not that it's communism, because we don't really have any of that.
No,
communism defeated itself.
Yes,
big business is here, though.
Russia, but of course China and Vietnam and North Korea are still communism, as well as Cuba. I don't know if I can give them two of my buddies. I have pictures of two of my buddies that were my close friends that were killed in Vietnam. That's Yates. I'm going to talk about Yates in a little while. Yates received 5 battle wounds over there, 3 of them next to me. One time we were in a shelter house, a pulp tent, when he had shrapnel from a mortar go into his leg. And then they made him a cook back in base camp, and he was wounded 2 times back in this base camp.
As a cook?
No, that's what we all thought, but no.
They made him a cook. How did he get wounded again?
Because the camp was always under the threat of attack. And mortar rounds. I know one time a mortar round hit my bunker. You can see the tents in the back there. Was on the end. It was on the end, and a mortar round hit right between my bunk and somebody else's, and blew the whole several personal belongings up completely. we were on an operation. I didn't even know about it for weeks later when we came back.
Okay, so this fella is Yates?
This is Yates. Yates, if I understand, passed away in the 90s.
And where was he from? What part of the States?
He was from Illinois or Indiana, I believe.
And did you ever meet any of his family?
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
I didn't even see. Actually, it's Yates' camera I use to take all my photographs. We'll show his picture when I tell about him a story about him that's will make a interesting little story.
And who's the other fellow that you said you wanted to speak about?
Oh, now what we have here, this is Alexander. Alexander was he was a replacement, but he still was one of my buddies. He was killed later. Alexander was from the French bayous of Louisiana, and he spoke French. He didn't speak English until he went to school at 6 years old and learned how to speak English. And Vietnam being the unofficial second language of Vietnam, he came in handy as an interpreter when we needed to talk to the local people out in the rural areas and the jungles and all. And then we have this is Hinojosa. His name is Hinojosa.
What nationality is that?
He's a Texican Mexican, he used to say.
Texican Mexican?
He's from Yorktown, Texas, as I recall.
Yeah.
He's a little guy, smaller than me, and in those days I was 125 pounds. And he was killed by an artillery round, 105 millimeter, that was planted in the roadbed by the Viet Cong. And he and 11 other men in the 2.5-ton truck were all killed, and
where were you when this happened?
Well, we were in the camp. We were in the camp where he was standing. We called that the Alamo, by the way. That bunker was when we first arrived. We dug. We set up the camp. We dug everything. We built everything. There was still a lot of foliage around. But when everything was said and done, that bunker was a corner bunker. It stuck so far out from the line that it was almost by itself. So, of course, our commander was from Texas. He called it the Alamo. So we called it the Bunker Alamo. It was his...
how many men would be in a bunker?
Just two, maybe three, no more than three. There was two cots.
So it was you and...
one other.
Okay.
Either Hinojosa.
Okay, so they were different ones. So they all died other than you?
Yeah.
Everyone that was in that bunker?
Well, over the period of a year, yeah.
So everybody that was paired up with you?
Yeah, Hinojosa was good.
I knew I didn't want to be paired up with you. It means that I'm going to be gone soon, doesn't it? All your buddies.
Just watch your step. I've got an end. Okay. But,
wow.
Anyway, we made a lot of mistakes in those days. And but if, do you have something to say?
Well, I just, I'm interested in the fact that I really think it's important. I mean, I think that's what Memorial Day is meant for, is to bring up the wonderful things that you remember about the people that have gone, and to be able to think about what they meant to you and how they touched your life and why you felt the grief when they were gone.
Well, yes, it did. Now, I guess Yates was my closest buddy, and there's an interesting story about Yates. If we can get that picture back up of Yates, of the guy with the towel, yeah. Yates had no family, and mail call for the GIs was very important. Today, I guess I don't even know if they have mail call today.
Yeah, they do. I mean, because sometimes as a nurse in the hospital, we were encouraged to write letters and send little things as reminder to people, at least some years back. I don't know what's being done right now. I have no idea.
But anyway, one mail call, I got several letters. A lot of them were advertisements, but I got one from a cousin in Georgia that I never knew existed until she started writing me a couple of letters, among all the other letters and mail that I got. And Yates was really down this one day, and I said, Yates, I pulled that letter out from my Georgia cousin and said, here, write her.
Your cousin.
Yeah. And he said, what's she look like? I don't know what she looks like. I've never seen her. He started writing her. She wrote back, and the correspondence became between them, and they fell in love by proxy. And he said,
by letter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he said he's going back to bury her. I said, Yates, did you send her a picture of yourself? He wasn't,
Did she send a picture of herself?
Yes, she did. She had,
And she was attractive.
She stopped writing me altogether, but that's okay, Yeah. Anyway, he did return. He went back, like I say, he had 5 wounds. He left his camera with me. That's when I used the camera to take a lot of photographs.
But you said he died.
He died in the 90s.
Oh, he didn't die in the war.
No.
Okay, he died from marrying your cousin?
Or from what I understand, they married, and somewhere in the 90s, they divorced, because I stopped by when I came back from Maryland to Florida here. I stopped by, I had to see her, what she looked like. That's the first time I saw her. And that's when I found out that they had divorced. He went back up north where he came from. And then I got a post on our military link that he had passed away in the 90s. Anyway, that's an interesting story about Yates, how a GI would fall in love.
Did they have any children?
Yes, they did. They had a couple of children.
Oh, okay. All right. So, I mean, it was a meaningful relationship.
Yes, it was.
I think the personalities are really important. So I've known people that were pen pals long before they met. I mean, they didn't necessarily get married right away, but they maybe fell in love by learning the thoughts and sharing that by a letter. I can understand that. I think it's kind of romantic.
Well, I thought people like that. There's something besides the gory side of the war.
Yeah.
The doom and gloom, the funky monkeys. We also had a war with the animals in this jungle.
Mm-hmm.
But, they didn't. We were entering their habitat. They didn't like that.
Of course. Well, shall we do do you want to try a few step-ups or do a little exercise, or do we want to just skip that all day? Or did you finish up?
Yeah, I'm finished. Yeah, I'm finished.
No, I mean as far as your daily dozen.
Yes, we finished the daily dozen. We did the 12th one today.
Okay, so we've only got a few more shows that we're scheduled to do because we don't have sponsors. I think we have, 4 more shows. And so what we'll probably do is just individual exercises, unless you want to start with your defense, whatever it was that you were talking about.
You don't know what I was talking about.
Well, I mean, you were talking about the actual where you're using the daily dozen to actually do self-defense moves.
Yes.
But I can't quite figure out how that would be considered exercise per se.
Well, the exercises are exercises.
Which we've been doing.
Then what I intended to do was do some defensive techniques, and show how the exercises, play a part in the defense part.
Okay.
All right. For instance, when we do this,
Right. So that would be instead of an exercise session, it would be a self-defense lesson.
Yes.
So do you want to start doing those in the next couple of weeks?
We could do that. We could start that, yes.
Okay.
We'll do that.
And then just have maybe one, I think I demonstrated, and do you want to try the step-ups and see if that's something you'd like to do or not?
I'm going to do this, like that.
Oh, wait a minute. We need a little camera adjustment. Okay. All right. And then you just...
I'm a dump truck. I'm an eagle. I fly high.
Okay, then you can just do do some step ups. You can either alternate your stride, or you can do the same side. And do 10 of each, or you can alternate.
10 of each.
Right now you're leading with your left leg.
Oh,
and then,
okay.
Okay, so whichever way you want to go, whether you want to do it as steps, but you should try to keep your body balanced. So that if in other words, if you're leading with your left, you can lead with your left either 10 row, or you can do alternate, lead with the left one time, lead with the right next, whatever. Different ways of doing it. I think the important thing is to find a comfort zone, what you're comfortable doing, so that you'll be able to do it while you're watching television, or you're having a conversation, or whatever. And then if you do have this kind of a setup, the other thing, and I don't know how good you are with squats, but what I was demonstrating
my
before.
knees crack all the time.
My knees crack, but they still work. But it's just a matter of getting up and down. And this is something I think I demonstrated before, that you can do it from a straight chair. Because when you have steps like this, they might be a little bit low. But I know ladies, and I don't know about gentlemen, but I know they usually have to have a extension put on the bathroom facilities.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's too hard to get up once you sit way down. And if there's a toilet that's very low, they have to have some handles or something to help them get up. By doing this type of exercise, you keep your legs strong and your ability to take care of yourself. And that's really important as we age. And so I think what we'll do in the next few weeks is just do something simple like that.
Okay.
And then we can do some defense moves.
Yes.
Okay, so like that. Whatever it takes. So,
Okay.
Is that agreeable?
Okay. That's fine.
We're agreeing on something.
Yeah,
That's
not unusual.
okay. Then we can, that's all I want to do today, because this has been dedicated, and I think rightly so, to Memorial Day, and the fact that we're recognizing those people who gave their lives to this country. And so,
as the sun sets on our horizon.
Are you talking metaphorically?
Metaphorically.
Yes. What about the sunset on a horizon?
May you keep smiling. Pray for our country.
Oh, you're giving the ending. I haven't even given my thought of the week.
Well, you can do that after I say this.
Oh, will you say goodbye and then I give my thoughts?
None of us say goodbye.
Oh, I thought that was your ending. Down here? No? Okay. I'll be good.
Keep smiling. Pray for our country. Exercise daily. Stay healthy. And stay in the groove. But Wilhelmina has something else to say.
Okay. I just wanted to give the thought for the week. And this actually came from a book written by Elizabeth Gilbert called Eat, Pray, and Love, which also was a lovely movie with Julia Roberts. And you need to learn how to select your thoughts, just the same way you select your clothes every day. This is a power you can cultivate. If you want to control things in your life so bad, work on the mind. That is the only thing you should be trying to control. And I think it's important that we trust in God, trust in the universe, that everything works out for a reason. And it's all good.
You know, I met Julie Roberts one time at the Miami-Dade Book Fair back in the 90s.
Yeah?
Uh-huh. She invited all the authors to a luncheon she had.
That's lovely. Was she as beautiful in person? As she's
Yeah, she was.
and a gracious lady.
Yes, she was.
Yeah, I would love to meet her someday.
Yes.
Something to look forward to. And
pray for our country, please. We're in deep trouble these days, as you all know.
Well, I think that's a matter of perspective. Deep trouble. I think the universe is unfolding perfectly, just the way it is, and I think we need to be a little more trusting in God. I'm not worried about it. I don't think worry solves anything. It's negative thinking in advance. So I want to be grateful and thankful, and I'm very thankful for every beautiful day we have.
I am too, and I say that I pray every day to the Lord this. I'm glad for the day, because it's one more day I have that I
and we're going
have.
to enjoy every one of them, right?
Yes, you are.
Yeah, and I hope you do too. And we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Aloha nui oi.
This program was brought to you by the Internet Broadcasting Organization, setting the standard for new media broadcasting.